Today's date is June 13th in the year 2024. Some of you are possibly going to find this video because of the way it's been tagged. Some of you have already been here. You're now getting the memo. I am going to keep making videos, but I don't think that the subject matter that I'm about to get into should be here for a number of reasons. Okay. So there's going to be a new YouTube channel and a new Substack that's going to discuss the darkness that we're seeing right now in our society, specifically from women. And this is coming about just to inform you, but it should be obvious. Only men talk to me without snapping, but they do snap. I have issues with men, but I am not a homo. I'm a hetero. So I don't have an interest maybe in having a dinner with, a strange new man around town, more like a female, and to see if she's spiritual and maybe has an interest in, say, books and things of intelligence. So maybe we can try to change the world together. Like, I'm actually going to illustrate and lay out with a pen name what to me is sexy as hell in a woman. What to me, I think a good man should do for his family, for his woman, if given the opportunity. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the interference that I faced and how it is in line with the book from a white woman, Dark Cupid. However, women in our culture, even in the conspiracy theories and paranormal, are taking on aspects of the misandry, man-hate consciousness. My mother has it, but won't admit it. And my mother had it her whole life. And a lot of this has to do with the cruelty of some men, unfortunately. But then, I found myself in very deep philosophical, private, quiet, contemplative spaces recently, asking the ultimate question of questions. God, I feel like I should be playing that. What's that song from Madonna where it starts out with her going, God, life is a mystery. Okay, I'll save you the karaoke. God, why, including family, mother, and my audience on my main channel, because I'm different than the regular MGTOW crowd. I have my own content. I've been on national radio. I've done things. I've been around. I've stood up for off-gridders. So I'm not ugly. I've been told over and over, I just lack confidence. You got lots of, no, I actually don't entirely lack confidence. I got shitloads of confidence, and assholes call me a narcissist when I speak too boldly about my truth. Which is it? Not enough confidence or a narcissist? Pick one. Can't be both, or can you? Maybe in your world. Thing is this. I am smart, I am confident, and in bed I'm a good lover, frankly, when I put my mind and attention to it. If a woman wants it that way and not wham, bam, think a man, porno film style, which the vast majority of them want, whether they admit it or not. And that's not then. I actually have to follow up. Does that then mean I'm pro-human trafficking or pro this? No. I'm pro getting away with women that are actually dirtier than we know. Does that make sense? It would be my mother in her past that would say, don't just let a woman fellatio you, she'll get your energy. She said that shit to me in 2008 or 9 when she was still somewhat awake. Then something happened to her after 2012 and she went down the dark side and began to blame everybody else but herself for her own problems, including medical and dental. And she still continues to destroy her teeth. And so studying my mom, we're going to talk about that. There is a lot that's going to be shared about what I learned from her abuse to me. But at one point, I gave her this channel. And so I don't know if she's monitoring this. I don't want to harm her mental health. And I don't feel her mental health is good. She's frail, frailer than a potato chip, and doesn't really like the idea of me declaring my value to her or any of her family members. They see nothing in me. Nor have they said anything about the book that I've written. They're garbage, and I always knew that. But now I have to go all the way in understanding that we are in a woman's world. Let's stop being afraid of this futuristic thing. We came from women. Women control way more than what we're aware of. But I do recognize that there are horrible things that men have done to women, and I don't support those things, and I am of a racial heritage that has been blamed for a lot of atrocities towards women in the present day, simply because my father's a friggin' immigrant. Now I know for a fact from the propaganda going on that my mother has been affected by the anti-them consciousness, anti-themism. She does, like a lot of American women, care more about Ukraine. I actually do care about the Ukraine situation, but don't follow it closely. But I'm naturally going to follow things regarding people that look like me a little bit more closely. But I will have you know that I am also tired of alienating men that are cold-hearted. And so, like, I don't necessarily want to jump into a whole genre of catering to a bunch of angry, horny men during Solar Maximum. They have no compassion for me. That's the shit that alienated me from MGTOW to begin with. Now, if one guy, name starts with Z, emails me, says he's on the spiritual side of MGTOW, which I am, well, that's going to be the name, isn't it? Or something like that. Does that make sense? We're going to be talking about the spiritual side of men waking up. But when you talk about why we can't successfully white knight, why can't we successfully white knight? Because then we would be human trafficking ourselves to stop the women from trafficking their own ass. Did you hear what I said? For the woman to be free, and she is, to make her own decisions, she has to have the right to traffic her own ass to the highest or the lowest or the greasiest bidder. And so in this world, you have the reality of Smurf mind control. Don't ask me where that came from. Archon mind control, just as depicted in this book. In fact, let's go to page 133 now where I left off at. See what we've got here. It is time for me to do a deep dive into this. Let me just take a little break here and talk about my fitness and other goals. Trying to stay away from adult content. Trying to stay away from the strip clubs, and I am. Staying away from that street where I know the prostitutes walk on, and I am. I don't have a history, really, for many years of even thinking about that crap. It would literally be during past Solar Maximums when it's something stupid like that. In Portland. Anyway, go to the gym at 6 o'clock, and I pump iron. Okay? I bench, or I use the hammer strength, and I am dedicating myself to, that's nothing, I know. I'm dedicating myself to working out more on a regular basis to cope with things I'm going through. I'm going to leave it at that. And I want to make new gains. I'm trying to eat better. Let me put one of these sodas in the fridge here in a minute. Try to stay away from refined sugar, but I still eat some donuts. So I'm trying to do healthy things. I don't want to reveal too much about my personal life right now, right? But I do want to open up to you on the new platform about things that you don't know. Okay, but I did invite locals here in this shit stain area to this channel, maybe about 5 or 10 women, and they're showing me, women are showing me in the last month, especially since the eclipse, that they want nothing to do with this movement that I'm trying to build against human trafficking, against the evil in this world, to prepare people for World War III. There's an off-grid component, defending people, standing up for people that want to live in RVs and be safe and van dwell. There's many spokes, right, to the wheel. Look, literally like over 8 topics, 8 spokes to that wheel. I have many topics, and I'm planning to split these topics into different YouTube channels. I really want to talk to my main peeps on my main platforms, but when I tell them about the new channel or channels, they don't subscribe, or they don't email me, or they don't like. And I see other people, it's not a matter of jealousy per se, but I look at other people. I look at other content creators. I see their likes. I see their comments. I see their happiness. I see them with friends at times. And I see myself throughout my life asked out. And asked out of a lot of partnerships and friendships with men. So I need to talk about that, how my broken relationship with my mother and father and my YouTube audience and people in the city of my birth. Not just my mom and dad, but a whole cast of villains, you could say, and ex-flings that never want to massage me and meditate with me, but just blow me or fuck me, which is very indicative of what their true nature is. As, quote, get ready for it, cum dumpsters. Now, where does this label come from, and is it fair? What is a cum dumpster? And is someone then, by default, a cum dumpster if they're born a woman, if they refuse to stand against evil and actually be something more than, say, I won't say that, but something that is someone that a male has sex with and inserts his penis into and ejaculates. A woman should want to be more than a being, a human, that a man ejaculates into and has a baby. She should want to stop evil. She should want to stop human trafficking. And if I had a daughter, she would be trained like a nun. But when it comes time for sexual activity, the truth should be told. Things shouldn't be hidden, so they end up in the world of strip clubs and pornos, so they end up a runaway because their dad was too strict and psychopathic, well, probably not innocent himself. How many stories have we seen from the 60s, 70s, and 80s? And how many of these kids, you can tell I've been watching more of these older movies, end up in the streets, end up fucked, literally, metaphorically. We got that movie Monster, and because she was hurt by men, she goes out to hurt other men. This is like a soul thing going on. This is like a soul thing going on. But you got to understand. See, yes, this is the spiritual side of things. And I cannot censor that. And there's going to be people out there that want that because they strictly want to be in this blame game. Blaming men, blaming women, not taking accountability for their actions and their kids. It doesn't matter if I don't have kids. I have the ability to write the rule book on how you train kids, how you teach kids, how you educate kids. Everything has to be reformed, but that's another video. And I mean everything. The dental school, the medical school. I'm talking about like pull out the pen and paper, pull out the charts. We have to reform the whole fucking system before the system fucking eats us. So let's bring this to center, folks, ladies and gentlemen. There is going to be a resurgence of a certain level of content. Now, I've got to be cutting edge with the vocabulary. I ain't trying to get on any male supremacy hit list, Homeland Security watch list. And I hit Sandman's video play for the first time in a long time. And he's talking about being put on the list. Maybe it's good I got out of MGTOW when I had a chance. But then I go to MGTOW and I go look on what's online. And I type it in and I see like a number of channels. It's still going. It's still thriving. And there's going to be more men looking for the truth. And so I have an ability from past videos that I made out of my wazoo while homeless. There was an edge to what I said that went a certain way and had more tread or views than my prior 7, 8, 9 years of YouTube uploads. Now that video was recorded in a teardrop camper. I was homeless, but I was a smart homeless person who made content. And the whole thing about me becoming homeless was not drug addiction or becoming a dipshit or a doofus. It was good deeds that I did. And it was women. It was women that allowed me to end up in the fucking streets. And that gave birth at that point in 2014 to the MGTOW series that I kicked off. And from that point, even Sandman gave me a shout out. And then I ended up with haters that have an anti-MGTOW, anti-men going their own way mentality. So just like when I'm criticizing the wars, and for those of you that are familiar with my older content, aspects of political corruption, white supremacy, and I've also called out black supremacy in a way that even their biggest critics don't because they don't have the IQ that I do. So I am ready to recenter it wasn't so much as censorship, but knowing that, okay, it's time to put the MGTOW content on the back burner and write a book on the solar flares. This is my book on the solar flares, okay? And basically, and go on coast to coast. And then talk about things like Dion Fortune and using magic to fight the future real invaders of America. Like deep level stuff, folks, that most men don't get into, plus off-grid advice on getting like in the right position, because I interviewed a psychic that has seen this invasion. So I am going deep in this, and that the future of America is dark shit. It's unfortunately women being hunted, but the women will be involved in it too. They already are by trying to censor me. And I was on cable TV in the city of my birth. And because I had fornicated in the past with a witch, with a woman who wasn't good, who was watching my content. She was watching my content because she was working at cable access. And so I didn't even like psychically. Listen, guys, folks, when you need to move on from evil, greedy people that were in your life, you need to move on from them entirely. And for a guy like me who makes YouTube, that means even if you're psychically sensitive, like no longer talking to your main peeps on your channel and then only going on a one-on-one basis. So we're going to wrap up this video. On a one-on-one basis, I will allow Z so far. Z, you have a golden ticket. You are the only one so far, though. okay, a man from Cambodia that does believe in Christ, who doesn't believe in racism, is the only one to gain access to my all-new Substack, yet to be created, maybe in the coming week. I'm open to your feedback on that, sir, and how to make that a success for me without using my surname. And I'm willing to work hard for those of you out there that have had faith in me for a number of years and to give you fresh content and spiritual advice. Because I think the MGTOW crowd needs that. Because if the MGTOW crowd doesn't have the spiritual advice, they can blow up. I'm going to steer away from having a strong opinion on anti-masturbation. You know, sometimes you got to release the valve. What can I say? But to go out in the real world and have kids that you can't feed, that woman isn't going to allow you to treat right, to raise right, no. I do not authorize and believe that is the way. Do what you got to do, bro, to not bring in a front. But I don't think that God is actually commanding us to bring in children into this abusive place. I'm very suspicious of the commandments to make a plenty, because this is a prison planet where I don't follow Alex Jones. Only when I was young, dumb, and full of too much cum. And it was during that period of time. Folks, I got lots of stories. When you are up and coming in your field as a male, so I don't mean to sound narcissistic when I just talk about my experience, but others will have their experience in their fields. But for me, up and coming in the city of my birth, I was seen on cable TV, and a guy that had a glow to him that was speaking various truths. And I now know or suspect that demonic entities that were using these women as hosts made a beeline for me and offered that slurpy slurp to get a cord into me, to get data, and then to toy with my head. And then they'll come back years later because they do remember a man of value when they're old, right? And now I know what I know about MGTOW and how women are when they get older. You need to get away from those fake friends, those fake girlfriends when they come knocking around after they've already dropped your ass. And if you're a teacher of spirituality, maybe even get away from your channel and stop talking to them. If they can't come to you one-on-one in email and be an adult about it, not a bitch, then fuck them. Don't talk to them. Cut them off. So I have to give advice, folks, to a guy like myself. Don't excuse me. I have to print sometimes that you're like me. Bro, don't talk to people that hate you. If they like you, they will email you one-on-one just like you asked. They don't need you, you need them. This is terahertz, folks. For anybody who wants to look gangster like your uncle, I don't know what I should call myself, but I got a name for a new channel. There could be a MGTOW Substack, there could be a this, but I have another name I'm not going to say here, but it's a name for it's a superhero type name. Some of you know what I'm talking about, right? I already talked about it before. For some people, they hear what they want to hear. The really cool shit I want them to hear, they don't pay attention to, and they listen to some other stupid shit, and they misinterpret it like that jackass on YouTube. By the way, is he still running his mouth? I'm not even looking, okay? I said, God, it's in your corner, okay? Now, if you want me back in the ring, so to speak, right, you know what you need to do. Don't allow these people to reign and destroy our freedom of speech. And there are people out there, folks, and I write about it later, that's all they do. There are men out there and women, that's all they do is just, how can we shut down this person? And they act like they're victims. And they have like this whole cosmology as to how they're being victimized by that person. And that person's the narcissist. That person's doing the abuse. That person, but yet that person's not making videos about them and their name. That person is just leaving them alone. That person is just speaking their mind. But because that person's speaking their mind, they're going to attack them point by point, and a certain percentile of the people that watch my friggin' channel, unfortunately, will fall susceptible to that and leave the members area at the first drop of trouble or slander because they're stupid, and I don't need that fucking money. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no hooker. And people don't like an assertive man who's like, I'm not going to let you cage me. Somebody, when I put on literally the tiger shirt, said, whoa, tiger, put that tiger back in the cage. They literally aren't even ashamed to admit that they're freaked out by power and strength and courage. We talk about crystals. I talk about crystals on this channel. I have a new crystal. It's called, it's over there. I believe it's called Tiger's Eye. It came in from eBay. And I have another stone coming in. It's amber. I use these stones, not pussy, for power. This is terahertz. This is a terahertz bracelet. It's also good for energy. I can't tell you all the ways why. This is a selenite stone. It was a wand, but it broke in the vehicle earlier, so I'll buy another one on eBay. So I have deeper theories as to why my personal life suffers because I'm fighting evil. And I'm fighting evil at a deeper level, and I'm challenging my own sex demons. I seek to tame them. That doesn't mean that I'm on completely the no-fap diet yet. I'll tell you when I'm at that level of discipline, I'm not so sure that's necessary. There are some scientific studies that look at that shit and go, oh, please, bro, you guys take shit too far. And that's true. A lot of people on the internet with the self-help shit, stuff trends that isn't necessarily sane. But I fully support the no-fap and the no drug taking and the complete meditation up on the mountain. Totally want to be there with you if that's where you are. But I'm living in the modern age. And the temples around here are temples that you make within. They're temples you don't want to walk in, and you don't want to be around those people that go to these churches or these mosques. They're not quite right. I'm not going to let the evil of this community destroy me, but I know it has the capability to infect me or anybody to such a degree that we straight up drive over a bridge. That's the truth. So there's going to be like a university level of knowledge, I think, that's just going to pour out of my soul on a new platform. Again, to be honest, I feel like I need to go on another platform and talk about world events, and then another platform and just talk about relationships and or MGTOW. However, there's an overlay between the two. And then, of course, there's the business of, is this channel worth using in the future? I know that when I become angry enough, when 3 women hurt me at the same time, that they all unsubscribe at the same time, but the men stay. That is a massive sign there's something different at a soul level between men and women on the earth. Now I do see that. I don't believe at all that women are superior to men, because they all right now in our day and age. So we can at least look at our day and age versus previous times where women were around and were in leadership, and maybe go then and now, right? Now and what's coming. But where we are and what's coming is super dark, super genocidal, super Nazi on both the left and the right. Even though there's the anti-white aspect, and really in the end, it is like, whether it's a male or female, I don't know. But there's a demon at the end of it, an archon, a jinn, a ruler of some type that is manipulating the minds of so many men and women. And this is how it is. It's because of that entity rulership, which is what it's about, behind the dark feminism and the Nazism. You will have Nazis or white men attacking a brown man for trying to stop violence against white women in the streets of New York. Looking at videos of black men under mind control being led by cell phones and algorithms, thinking that this woman or some woman deserves to be harmed. And so I actually warned about this years ago. And at least there was an aspect of MGTOW that recognized that. But the conspiracy theorists, my mother, and the women in my audience did not. Now, they are conspiracy theory women, new age women. They may be actually the most unconscious and cruelest of women because they think they have it figured out or something. They're not actually learning shit. They're claiming, actually, they're infiltrating conspiracy theory and spiritualist circles, saying they have the answers, saying they're channeling this, that, and the other, or promoting someone that's doing the channeling, or attacking someone that's doubting someone. So they're going to provide auxiliary support to the very racist, because that's what it is, alienation program. Yep. Now, a lot of people have a problem with racism, but not when they're talking about white people come under attack. They should use that as a stepping stone to addressing the real racism that does exist and being big boys. Don't act like a crazy woman screaming hysterically saying there's no racism. There's plenty of racism, and plenty of it coming from the dark feminine. So wake up, numbnuts. You're going to criticize the behavior of women. You're going to cover for them, okay? Now, remember, folks, what do we say here at the beginning? We all came here from women. We all came from women. All the women that are selling women came from women, and all the men on the earth, right, that are selling women, they came from women. So this is what needs to be understood. Now, I was never trained in or encouraged to be a good man whatsoever by my mom. She threw my ass away as soon as she got a golden ticket to go to the Big Apple and get free rent from some dude she slurped on till he kicked her ass or something happened. And then the system, because she put herself knowingly in a bad situation, I'm telling you, this evil system rewarded my mom with cheap rent for a long ass time. And not everybody in America gets the opportunity to go to the Big Apple and live for cheap after throwing away a kid like me. I'm actually very suspicious and believe my mom is bought and sold by the devil now. All she could say to me is stop criticizing people. She's gone, and she got a copy of my book. And so George Norrie is becoming senile and doesn't even mention my book on the show. We've got other people having mental problems. We've got other people having problems out here. If I try to offer a woman like my flash drive to my videos, they probably think it's a tracking device or that I'm a human trafficker. It's the most hysterical thing they've ever seen. Now, when a guy said on his BitChute channel, do women have a soul? And I took a screenshot of it. I'm like, I'm highly offended by the direction that he's taking. He's in that direction because he's homeless. I went in my direction when I was homeless. And due to privacy issues, I can't tell you my full life story right now. I can only tell you aspects of my story, but I'll tell you this. I don't believe that every single woman is evil. It's not necessarily a matter of evil versus good. They have a role to play, and we'll talk about that. And I'll just give you a spoiler now. The role that they can play sometimes is diffusing the men from being super violent and pumped up and getting them to keep their mouth shut and just relax. I don't have a ton of experience with women, but I've seen this out of women trying to diffuse. I've also seen the opposite. Women trying to start shit. Women trying to get the men to fight over, them. But some spiritual women do have. The other thing is sometimes some women are only helpful to us men when they are when they are born in a form that other men don't want. And I have more to tell you about this. So when you have a woman that's born a certain way, plus maybe other aspects of her psychology that may be spiritual, where, they're just going to alienate like the average man on every single level. The horniest of horniest is going to go with like a pig who's like stupid and shit and carnal. Gonna hit me, baby. Yeah, I went out with one of those once. It was some nasty stuff. Very ashamed of it. Very ashamed of that hotel room night. It was what we both felt we wanted on that solar maximum night. Made myself a little sex tape. Anyway, never uploaded it. Thank God. Anywho, that's enough from me. There will be a new channel coming. God bless. Take care.